Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 brand new home hacks. These are so good, you're not going to want to miss them. So this first hack is a trend that I've been seeing all over and I wanted to try it out using my own items. So I went to the thrift store and I was looking for some unique bowls. I found these really cool ones. They had like this tan on the outside with this blue on the inside. I love the way they look, so I went ahead and picked up 4 of them. Next, I'm going to clean the bowls and disinfect them. Next, I'm going to use the DAP Rapid Fuse Fast Curing Gel with Gel Control Applicator around the bottom of the bowl. And I want to thank DAP for sponsoring today's video. This Rapid Fuse Gel sets in 30 seconds, but it'll cure in 30 minutes, and it bonds virtually to all materials. Next, I'm going to place the second bowl on top, and I'm going to let that set until it dries. Next, I decided I was going to paint the exterior, so I grabbed a brown and bronze acrylic paint and also some baking soda, and I'm going to mix those all together. Now, I did add a little bit too much baking soda and I had to get rid of some of it. It was easy just to pour out the baking soda I wasn't going to use, but the reason you want to add in baking soda is it's just going to add in a nice texture. So I'm going to paint the sides of my bowl, leaving that top center portion because I just thought it looked so pretty. I ended up doing 2 coats of paint. Now I'm going to let this completely dry, and I thought this would look great sitting out on my sink with all of my brushes that I use for cleaning dishes. Now this next hack is going to help you with all of those annoying labels that we get on things. So I picked up a plate and also these glass candle holders at the thrift store. To remove the labels, I'm going to use my garment steamer and I'm just going to hold it on the label for 5 seconds. After that, all the adhesive basically just lifts off easily. You can easily peel it off or scrape it off. So for this project, I'm going to be using the Rapid Fuse Ultra Clear All-Purpose Adhesive. Now this adhesive's a little bit different. It sets up in 30 minutes, but it basically bonds to everything and it bonds crystal clear. So there's not going to be any yellowing. So this is perfect whenever you're putting 2 glass pieces together. I'm going to add the Rapid Fuse Ultra Clear to my candle holder. Next, I'm going to place the plate on top. Let that dry, and then I'm going to style it. So I love picking up glassware at the thrift store. I think they have some of the best deals. I came across these 2 pieces of glassware that were in a square shape, and I had my wheels turning for some organization ideas. So again, I'm going to use that same steamer technique to take off the labels. Now, if you don't have a steamer, you could always use your blow dryer. That works just as well. Use your blow dryer on it for a little bit and then pull them right off. Next, I'm going to put painter's tape around the lower half of my glass containers. I'm going to be spray painting these, so I wanted to put paper around the top edge. So I'm going to tape off the top, so when I'm spraying, I'm not going to get any spray paint on the top portion. Next, I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to be using a black Rust-Oleum spray paint, and I'll do 2 coats of spray paint. Once that dries, I'm going to take off the painter's tape. Because I wanted these pieces to come together and be really clear wherever their bond is, I'm going to be using the Rapid Fuse Ultra Clear All-Purpose Adhesive for this project. And I'm just going to put it on the side of my container, push them together, and let it dry. I thought these would look perfect in an office for office supplies. And how cute does this look, and so inexpensive? So if you guys watch Let's Fenwick DIY quite a bit, you probably remember when I picked up this nightstand at IKEA for $27 in the as is section. And that was a great deal. I did a makeover on it where I stained the entire dresser. I also painted the drawer of it white. But I wanted to give you another option for that nightstand that I thought was pretty cool. So I'm gonna leave the stained portion of the nightstand alone, but I'm gonna be dressing up the drawer a little bit. So I removed the knob that was on there. Next, I purchased a product called pole wrap. This is traditionally supposed to go around columns like in your basement, but I thought it would be a really cool texture to add on the front of this nightstand. That's really a popular trend right now, to put texture on your furniture pieces. So I'm gonna measure how long my dresser is and how far I need to cut the pole wrap. Next, I'm going to use my saw to cut the pole wrap. I'm gonna try to make sure it lines up perfectly, and I ended up not having enough, so I had to measure and cut 2 pieces. Now, as I was cutting, I made sure that I lined it up on the drawer to make sure that it was going to fit perfectly. I didn't want to see the drawer on the back side. I was okay if the pole wrap was a little bit over the edge because I didn't want to see the drawer behind it. Now I want this to have a really strong bond to my drawer. I'm going to use the DAP Rapid Fuse Fast Curing Gel with Gel Control Applicator to stick the pole wrap to the front of the drawer for a really strong bond. And then I'm just going to simply place it onto my drawer. Now I let this dry sitting up until it was completely cured. Next, I'm going to be using the color Ink by Waverly, and I'm going to paint the drawer front with 2 coats of paint. Now the drawer pull that came on this was okay, but I thought I could spice it up a little bit if I had more of like a gold antique knob. So I actually had this one on hand, but I'll link to them below. They're available on Amazon. So I drilled a hole at the top of my dresser to add in this new gold knob. Now this is definitely a different look to the way I had it before, but I love the way this turned out. Now this next hack is perfect for anybody who has a trash can, and which is virtually all of us. But I saw this idea on Pinterest and thought it was so cool and just had to try it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick up some adhesive hooks. I grabbed the ones at Dollar Tree because they were the most inexpensive. And then you're gonna start by taking any trash can and you're going to put in your trash bag. Now I'm doing a smaller trash can. This is from IKEA, one of my favorites, and I'm gonna just put in a Dollar Tree sack. So this is a great idea for smaller trash cans if you have Walmart, Dollar Tree sacks that you want to reuse. Next, you're going to pull the little handles over the trash bag over the edge, and then you're going to take one of your hooks and put it through the handle and like pull it down like it would naturally lay, and you're going to put the hook onto the side of your trash can. Now what this does is it allows you, when you put your trash bag on, to hook to the side of the handles. Like, this is genius. That way, when you're using your trash can and you're opening and closing it, the trash bag's not gonna fall in. This is so inexpensive and such a cool hack. Let me know what you guys think of this. I love this. So when I was looking on Anthropologie's website, they had a lot of like fabric wall hangings that were really cool. So I wanted to recreate something similar from the thrift store. I found this old like wool pillow cover at the thrift store. It was in the shape of a square and it was just like a thick fabric, and I thought it would be really cool for this project. So I picked it up. I'm also gonna be using a package of the gold rings that you can buy at Walmart. They're $2.88, and these are typically for wreaths, but I'm gonna be using it to trace. So I'm going to be making a geometric pattern on this pillowcase. So I'm going to take the larger ring and I'm going to put it down at the bottom and I'm going to trace around the ring. Now I wanted it to look not like a circle. I wanted it to look more like it was rounded at the top and longer at the bottom. So I just kind of drew down a little bit at the edge and then I'm going to, at the bottom, just paint across the bottom. Next, I took that middle ring and I'm going to trace the bottom half of it because I wanted to make a half circle. So I'm going to be using just a straight edge and I'm going to draw the line across. And then with the smaller ring, I'm going to use that and trace it at the top. So here's another hack. If you ever have sample paint, they are really inexpensive and they're great for DIY projects. So I'm going to be using this color Rainstorm by Sherwin-Williams that I had. It's a simple blue color that I think looks amazing. I started by trying to use a smaller brush and had to upgrade to a larger brush just because it was more of a textured fabric and the paint went on better. I'm simply just going to follow the lines and trace around and paint this piece. Now I only did one coat of paint, but I made sure that it was covered pretty well. So with fabric, you really don't have to wait and do drying coats. Just kind of put the paint on until you're happy with it. Now I wanted to have a hanger on this, so I used some nautical rope that I had to create a hanger. Now I hot glued the cord in place and then I also reinforced it with duct tape. You want to make sure that it's nice and secure on the back, especially since it's going to be on fabric. You want to make sure it holds really well. Next, I'm going to take a really long dowel rod. These are actually those long bamboo skewers that they sell at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut it down to be the size of my pillowcase because if I don't have something sturdy on the back, what's going to happen is because it's fabric, it's going to kind of fold into itself when I hang it up. So I want it to hang nice and straight. So you could have like, a paint stick or something. It doesn't have to be a dowel rod, just something on the back. And again, I'm going to hot glue that on and also add duct tape. Now, how gorgeous does this look in my bedroom next to this new chair that I have? So I definitely have more home hacks for you guys. I told you this video is jam-packed with really cool trends. So this next home hack I found on the Family Handyman blog, and I think this is so cool. Whenever you're painting and you're wearing gloves, which I do often just because I'm really messy and I get paint all over myself, and you want to save your paintbrush, you don't want to like wash it in between coats, or maybe you're like coming back to the project the next day. Here's a really cool hack. So take that glove you're wearing and you're gonna take it off and wrap it around your paintbrush, okay? So the glove you're using, you're just wrapping it around your paintbrush. Next, you have to secure it. So you could use something like a little zip tie. I had these little rubber bands and I'm just gonna tie one of the rubber bands at the bottom. Now this is going to do the same thing that it would if you put like plastic wrap over it. It's just going to save it for the next day, but it's making use out of that glove that you were wearing that you were probably gonna throw away. So I think this is so cool. So this next hack is a really easy centerpiece idea. So you're going to pick up a mirrored tray. The one I grabbed was $5 in the Target dollar spot. So next I put a piece of paper on the top of the tray, and that's mainly just for camera angles whenever I'm doing this project, so you guys don't have to do that portion. Next I'm gonna add a decorative border to the outside, and I found these really cool beads on Amazon. I'll link them for you down below. And I just love how they're these little half circles. Now I needed to add these with a really strong glue that was gonna hold them in place. So I'm going to be adding the DAP Rapid Fuse Fast Curing Gel with Gel Control Applicator. I'm just gonna put a tiny dot on the tray and then place the beads on top. Once that has a chance to cure, they're set to go in place. And then you could style this any way you wanted. I put some simple candles on it and I think it looks great as a centerpiece. So this next hack is amazing. So you want to pick up some fresh eucalyptus. You can usually buy them at the grocery store. I know in my area, I'm able to buy them at Trader Joe's. I'm going to take all of the eucalyptus out of the packages and I'm going to bundle them together and tie them with some jute cord. Now I'm going to make sure that the jute cord is long enough so that I could tie it in my shower. Next, you're going to tie the eucalyptus to the top of your shower. So you want to take a hot shower and you're really going to get that fragrance from the eucalyptus. It smells amazing and is so cool in your shower. For our next hack, I'm going to use a stool that I already had in my office, and I'm going to be doing a paint dip technique. Now, I love any kind of paint technique. It's just so fun. So I'm going to start by taking some painter's tape, and I'm going to be measuring off the bottom of my stools. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want the paint to go up at the same level on each of my legs, and I also want it to have a nice clean edge. Next, I'm going to be using that same blue color I was using earlier called Rainstorm, and I'm going to take the chair legs and just stick it down into the paint sample. Now, it didn't go all the way, so I kind of had to like move it around a little bit. And then you're going to pull it up, let all of the excess paint drip off before you move it. Now, this is going to create a mess, so make sure you have something that you can set it on. So I'm going to repeat this with all 3 of my legs. Now, if for some reason the paint did not get on your stool legs, you can always go back in with a brush and add a little bit of extra. Now, my recommendation is to let this set out. I would move it maybe every 30 minutes so that you don't want the paint to stick to whatever paper you put it on. So move it around to let all of that excess paint drip off. And here's a look at how my stool turned out. So I want to give a shout out and thank all of our All Access Patreon members. I want to thank DAP for sponsoring today's video. Both of these adhesives are awesome. You guys have to check them out. If you're new here, make sure that you subscribe. I post 2 DIYs each week, and I'll talk to you guys in our next one. Bye.